Over the years, I've used a lot of different products to make my water drinkable while on the trail. I've used these straw-type filters. I've used tablets. I've used chlorine dioxide liquid. I've used these pump filters. I've used these filters within bottles. I've used these squeeze-type filters, but I've gravitated away from these products in favor of this Grayl ultralight water filter. I've made videos about this in the past. Basically, there's an outer bottle that you use to collect the dirty water. There's an inner bottle which has the filter element at the bottom. You fill this part with dirty water, and you squeeze down, and the water gets forced through the filter, and the clean water comes up the top. And then you could either pour it into a clean container, or drink right from the bottle, carry your filtered water this way. I love this system. I love it because it's not just a water filter, but it's a water purifier. It doesn't get rid of just protozoa and bacteria. It also gets rid of viruses, it gets rid of chemicals, it gets rid of pesticides, it gets rid of heavy metals, it gets rid of microplastics, anything that is found in water today that you don't want in your system. So to me, it's just easier to have a purifier with me that takes everything out of the water rather than have to tailor my hike and my filter to where I'm going to be. Is cryptosporidium a concern here? No? Okay, then I'll take this filter. I can't be bothered with that. I just want to be able to grab, a filter that, or a purifier in this case, that does what I need it to do. Now, again, all of these filters have compromises, and this is no exception. It's small. It claims to do 16 ounces of water, but realistically, you only get about 14 ounces per press. But it does it quickly. In a minute, you can do an entire liter. No problem at all. But what advantage this has over any other kind of filter is that there's less of a risk for cross-contamination with something like this. If you're using a straw, for example, you have to get really close to the water, especially if you don't have a container to put the dirty water in. And then all of these filters that have these protective caps on it, you always run the risk of touching these caps and getting them dirty, and then putting that portion in your mouth. Something like this Sawyer squeeze, for example. The idea here is you fill the bottle with dirty water, attach the filter, and then you can either squeeze it into your mouth like this, or squeeze it into a bottle. Well, if your bottle is not completely dry, if you're squeezing into another bottle, you always run the risk of having whatever is adhering to this run down the filter and go into your clean container. And the same here, when you take off this protective cap, if your hands are not completely clean, there's almost no way to avoid touching it at some point. And if your hand's wet with dirty water, you touch this, you put this in your mouth, you've got cross-contamination. It doesn't happen as much with the Grayl because your mouth is never really coming in contact with the inner bottle. Neither are your hands. Everything is protected with this cap, and when the water is filtered, you can just pour it into something, and that's it. It remains clean, even though you're pressing down like this. So I'll continue to use this, especially on shorter hikes, day hikes, for example. But Grayl has recently introduced the Geopress. This is slightly bigger. The collecting bottle is 24 ounces as opposed to 16 ounces. You can see the difference in size here. And it's got a different filter. It's a slightly bigger filter. So it's not, you can't use the same filter. Two different size filters. These filters are replaceable, which is good. So basically, you're buying the bottle once, and then you're using it until it becomes very, very difficult to press, and then you know it's time to change the filter. But I found with this new bottle, they've made some huge improvements. First of all, both of these filters, I keep calling them filters, but they're actually purifiers. Both of these purifiers are extremely strong and rugged. I mean, you're not going to break these. And I've dropped them, they've rolled, they just keep working. Very easy, very few moving parts. I really like the design. But this has been improved to a new level. For example, this entire protective cap here that goes over the inner bottle screws on, and it incorporates a couple of new features. First of all, you've got this grip here. You can either put a carabiner to attach this to your bag, carry it with your fingers, but it also has this integrated, so it's two functions actually. It releases, it allows some air to go in so that when you press down, it doesn't take a whole lot of force. And in 8 seconds, you know, you've got at least 22 ounces of water here, because again, some always stays in the filter. But the cap also is designed so that you drink right from there without having to touch anything, which is fantastic, because let's face it, we don't always have the opportunity or the wherewithal to wash our hands before we take a drink on the trail. We should carry some wipes or something and, you know, clean our hands off. But, you know, not everyone does. So the fact that this has this integrated drinking spout or pour spout is really a clever design. And also, just the way it's put together. I mean, this is a rugged bottle. This is not breaking. So on a longer hike, this is what I've been taking. Still use this on the day hikes. And I like the fact that I don't have to think about which filter to bring, what's going to be filtered. Now, let's talk about the capacity for a minute. This purifier will do 250 liters, which is 65 gallons. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you use it on the weekends, you could probably get 2 or 3 years out of one filter. It is pricey. I'm not going to minimize that. The entire package is about $100, but you have to think about it this way. When you factor it out over time, it's really not a lot of money. And, you know, would you rather spend the money on a trip to the emergency room? I know I wouldn't. So to me, it's worth it to spend a little more to get the convenience and to get the capabilities of this purifier. Also, it is a little bit heavy. It weighs about a pound, so you know, you may have to, if you're ultralight, you're not going to like this. But for the rest of us, you know, take something else out, and you know, your pack weight will still balance out. To me, I would much rather have the peace of mind and security of carrying a purifier like this than to not have it. So there you go. There's another option. Everything on this table that I've shown you is owned by me, purchased by me. Not a sponsored video, so I just wanted to get that out there. I'm not a shill for any company. I just like these filters, and I think that for the money, you get an incredible value, especially with this new one. It's just wonderful. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.